Final chapter. Human. I woke up laying in the middle of the street. My clothes were torn to shreds. Next to me was my tower, reduced to rubble on the ground. The people around me were helping each other out, calming down after the apocalypse was over. I lifted myself to my feet and began to walk home. The power I had once was gone. I couldn't feel it anymore. In fact, I couldn't feel anything. I was completely empty inside. I didn't feel pain or sorrow or anger, but I could not feel pleasure or joy or love. I was just completely blank. The thought of being without a soul was maddening, knowing I could never feel happiness or love again. At least when the Dark One inhabited my body, I could feel some emotions and draw joy through sadism, but now I know I can never feel joy no matter what I do. The thought makes me feel great sorrow, or at least it would if I could feel anything. When I arrived at home, my mother smothered me in a hug. "Oh, my precious boy, thank God you're safe." She looked at me to see if I had a blank look on my face. I could tell this was a very touching moment, but I remained untouched. "You must have seen something truly traumatic," she said, looking at the blank stare on my face. I quickly thought of something horrible that I could have seen. I saw a little girl disemboweled, then come back to life and eat a small dog. I would like to go to my room and rest. "Oh, okay, if you need anything, I'm here. And Dimitri, I love you." "I love you too, Mom." This love was more of an idea than an actual emotion. I pondered this thought as I walked to my room. She provides food and shelter for me, and I appreciate that. Or at least I did when I had the capacity to. I guess that appreciation is love. I lay down on my bed and fell asleep. I did not dream. When I woke up, I turned on the television to see the news. It was a horrible scene today as a mysterious cloaked man destroyed most of the downtown area and caused the dead to rise from their graves. Only by the bravery of Adamant, aka Adam Gunner, we are saved. After this spot is restored, a marble statue will be erected in his honor of the now deceased hero. The reconstruction will cost the state. I could continue to watch, but after a little while of watching, I couldn't find any satisfaction, and thus no point in continuing. I shut off the television and tried to think of a way to occupy my time. I could imagine my eighth playthrough of Cat's Eye. I could continue my 8th playthrough of Cat's Eye, but for what? To obtain the joy of completing it? I no longer have the ability to articulate such an emotion. In the corner of my eye, I saw my school literature textbook. Taking it in my hand, I began to read. It was as if I were reading it for the first time. The words were so clear, and I absorbed the information so easily. After a few days, I finished the textbook and turned my attention to other books containing knowledge on grammar, vocabulary, and sentence structure. Eventually, I began to see repeating information and felt I knew more than the authors themselves. Then I began to write. I wrote poems before, but never at this rate. I would produce 7 to 9 a day between classes. I had no emotions, but what I did have were memories of enough emotions to fill 3 lifetimes. Some were joyous, and from the times I had with Randy, and others were depressing from the times without her. By the time I graduated high school, I had enough poems to fill a respectably thick book of poems. My mother suggested I get it published, so I did, and soon my work was on bookshelves. During the following summer, my mother died of stomach cancer. A shame I couldn't feel anything. Tragedy and loss made a great inspiration for my poems. My books sales began to pick up and allowed me to pay through college, living comfortably in a small apartment. Eventually, after several new poem books and more years than I care to count, I graduated college with a master's degree in English. By this time, I had accumulated a small amount of fame and a large amount of wealth. I married a pretty girl named Stephanie, who I suspected only did so for the money. It doesn't bother me. I live in a mansion and have hundreds of fans. This is truly anybody's greatest dream, but I can't feel joy. I can't enjoy success. No matter what I did, I only felt empty inside. And empty shell has no purpose other than decoration, but you shouldn't feel bad for me. I sure don't. The end.